Let me open up with my disclaimer.
Yes, sir.
If I can find it.
Disclaimer. The views, comments, and opinions expressed during the Tuesday night study cipher are solely those of the host and its participants. They do not necessarily reflect the views, comments, or opinions of the Nation of Islam, unless explicitly stated when referencing official teachings for educational or contextual purposes.
The next topic, are we a part of a cult or are you a part of a cult? When you hear the term cult, what actually comes to your mind?
Um, yeah. For me, like Jim Jones,
Okay.
um, Charles Manson, like things of that nature.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, I think for me, I had the mind of everybody in like the same color, like the women in gowns, or like a simple garment rather, and they live together in a community, um, all working together to support that one um, land place, and going out and doing jobs, like selling pamphlets or flowers or things that they've made and bringing everything that they make back to that community. They
Oh,
have all the same beliefs, their own belief system, and, and their own rules and regulations.
okay. We just had somebody that just came on. The last four of your phone number is 1151. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam, everyone.
Walaikum salam, man.
And could you let your name be known?
I'm sorry about that. Just Sister Angela.
Assalamu alaikum, Sister Angela. The question was asked, when you hear the word cult, what comes to your mind?
The church.
The church? Okay,
hmm
okay,
That's what they say. Yeah.
right. Well, usually when we hear the term cult, it's from a negative standpoint. Um, when we're dealing with people. In the modern term, the negative meaning associated with the word cult developed mainly during the 19th and 20th centuries. Modern media began applying the term to groups associated with manipulation, authoritarian leadership, psychological control, exploitation, and isolation. As a result, the modern population meaning differs greatly from the original philosophical meaning. When we deal with the etymology of a word or the philosophical meaning of the word, when we deal with philology, I want to show Dr. Wesley building on the term philology right quick. Uh, Back up. Okay.
These texts be read in the light of the linguistic requirements, in the light of the grammar of the text. In terms of vocabulary, what does a word mean? Well, I don't care what you think it means. I'm not asking you. I'm not interested in what you say it means. What is the philological importance of that term? That means, what did it mean at the time it was written and immediately before it? Don't give me a 2011 definition of a 4,000-year-old word. Definitely don't give me a 2011 English definition of a 1,000-year-old Arabic word or.
So philology deals with what does the word mean of the time that it first came into being, existent. What is the origin of the etymology of the word? And so we're using, when we hear cult, we deal with it from a Western modern standpoint. Because at one time they said the Nation of Islam was a cult. And so
They
when you
still do.
true. And so when we hear this, sometimes our only defense is, no, we're not a cult. It moves us emotionally. But when you look at the etymology of the word cult, it means, back out, to cultivate, to tilt the soil, to inhabit, to care for, to honor, to worship. From the root word of cult came several English words: cult, culture, cultivate, agriculture, and colony. So originally, a cult referred to a system of care, reverence, devotion, and cultivation. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that our Islam is not a religion, it is a way of life. It is our culture. So the root of the word culture is cult. So when we ask or told that we are in a cult, that gives us a teachable moment to go to the origin of the word or the etymology of the word. And our lessons say there's much to learn in a word. So when we deal with cult or cultivating, we're dealing with the science of growth, development, community, and also cultivation. The best cultivation is with the self. Are you a cult within yourself? Are you applying the science of the teaching of the Nation of Islam, agriculture, how to eat to live, self-improvement? These are the tools by which we cultivate ourselves within our culture. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, how can our nature be a religion? Our nature cannot be a religion. We can only apply and live out our nature. But to live out our nature properly, we have to be properly cultivated. So if we go to the origin of the word or the etymology of the word, yes, I am in a cult. I'm in a system that's cultivating. That if you come into this system, you learn how to cultivate yourself. So when you hear the origin of the word or the etymology of the word cult, now do you have a understanding of how to use it and apply it to who you are and to Islam as taught by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Repeat that again now.
Now hearing the origin or the etymology of the word cult, how do you see it benefiting yourself and through the teachings of the Nation of Islam?
Okay. So, like you were saying, the underlying theme of the root of cultivate, indicating that, cult originally meant a group that's cultivating or tending to a particular form of worship. In that respect, yes, I can say that for me, studying Islam, which is my nature, but studying that so I can get back to my original self, that's um, helping to cultivate or grow my spirit and my belief
Okay.
and help me to return to my original self in that respect.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. So when you look at,
For
oh,
me,
go, yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
okay. For me, you know, likewise, using the word cultivate, it means to tend, to help things grow. So it's not just for myself, although I know I have, you can't really do anything unless you do for self first. So you can't help anyone unless you first help yourself. But by cultivating and learning yourself, you can also drop the seed, which will in turn help grow others. So you're cultivating to help others grow and continue on what you've learned to pass on to others.
Okay. So Sam, I seen you dropped off and just added you back in. Question was
Right. It's right. Mm-hmm.
based on hearing the origin or the etymology of the word culture in a positive sense, how do you see where you can apply that to who you are and to your life or the teachings?
You say it's a positive. Repeat that.
Say what now? Can you hear me?
No, I can't hear you right now. Phone breaking up.
Uh, how do you see the word cult is dealing with cultivation, uh, tilting the sword, seeing it from a positive standpoint?
I'm saying, well, like I said, the church could be considered one, and that's supposed to be considered a positive thing.
Okay,
So even with us, even our way of life is considered positive, although to this very day people still look at us like we're one, and but they're starting to see that it's not a bad thing.
right.
It can go either way. It really can go either way. So I know that I just apply. try to stay positive and everything as far as my everyday life. And try to keep the people around me like that so we all have like minds.
Okay. Okay. And so in our supreme wisdom, um, Lost Found Muslim lesson number 2, there's a question, uh, which is question number 17. It says, what is the meaning of civilization? And the answer, one having knowledge, wisdom, understanding, culture, refinement, and is not savage, pursuit of happiness. So a cult, based off the etymology and the origin of the world, helps to build a civilization. And so having knowledge, wisdom, understanding, culture, refinement, and is not savage. And our lesson says savage is one who has lost the knowledge of themselves and lives a beast life. And so then the question is asked, what is the duty of a civilized person? To teach the uncivilized people who are savage civilization, righteousness, the knowledge of himself, the science of everything in life, love, peace, and happiness. So part of our culture is to cultivate others as well as
Others,
self.
right, right, right.
But it starts with self first. So the the Bible said, how can you say you love God who you've never seen and hate your neighbor who you see every day? Then there's a saying, love your brother as you love yourself. So the prerequisite to loving somebody else is based on how you love yourself. How do you uh, gain a knowledge, wisdom, understanding, cultural refinement for yourself? How do you see yourself as part of civilization? Have you ever thought of yourself from the teachings of being part of a civilization?
Now, I see myself a part of civilization because I'm living, I'm surviving in the world, and so I'm in civilization.
Okay. Anyone else?
I would say I'm learning to be civilized
Okay.
because I'm developing culture and refinement. There are certain things in civilized societies that they don't do in other societies. So, again, we have to look at, okay, well, if you're civilized, are you a part of ancient civilization? Are you in the present or are you future?
Okay.
And so, being civilized, there's certain things that you do. Like, for example, it is uncivilized to walk around with no clothes on.
Right.
So you have uh, groups of people that's how they are, but that's uncivilized.
Okay.
So that also goes to our language, how we communicate, how we dress, the way we conduct ourselves in public versus at home. So, you know, we have lost a lot of these things. We have taken on uncivilized ways, but with the teachings and really just studying yourself and studying other cultures, you can see what civilization is and what isn't. So you
Okay.
can be civilized, but are you highly civilized?
Right.
Agree.
So,
But what may
there's
be normal to us is unnormal to other people in other countries and other worlds.
right.
America is totally different.
So, it's like it's levels to it.
Mm.
Okay. Anyone else?
I agree. And I also think it's also how you like treat the world, the earth, the like trash, just how the usefulness or the wastefulness that people do because they only think of themselves and at the moment. But you have to try to maintain things and live a not a savage life so that things are available for the future and not just try to use up everything right now and you you don't leave anything for anybody else.
Okay. Okay. And so once we get a proper understanding of the term cult and a proper reality, a cult is what people worship, honor, or devote themselves to. So, uh, relationship, marriage, community, all this determine your level of cultivation. Your culture is what grows out of the devotion over time. The in the nation, what they got the Ministry of Arts and Culture, but they only look at that from a standpoint of entertainment, music, dancing, from that standpoint. But they never look at it from a standpoint of how can I help someone grow and develop mentally and spiritually? As we were saying, the duty of a civilized person is to teach the uncivilized people. And that's civilization, righteousness, the knowledge of themselves, the science of everything in life, peace, and happiness. But how can we teach that? Do we teach it in words? We teach it from books and videos, or do we teach it in how we live and carry ourselves and how we deal with our people? Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So the best way to show that we're in a cult is to show that we are cultivating and we're cultivating, that we are putting in and applying everything that we study, everything that we learn, that we're actually living it and carrying it out in our everyday walk. Why? Because people uh uh follow or go by what they see and hear and how you carry yourself before what you're actually saying to people or what you're
Mhm.
teaching people. Because many times we we get before people and we teach and we get before people or we around people and we build on everything, but once the talking stop, do they see us living what we are saying? Are we carrying out what the message through our deeds and our actions? So when we deal with cult and cultivating, it's part of the self-improvement process. It's part of our growth and development because what they say, charity starts at home. I think that's what it is. I think it's charity starts at home. It might be another word, but everything starts within the self. I can't tell you I love you. You're supposed to tell me, I know you love me by the way you treat me. I know you love me because of this. I know you love me because I can say I love you and I treat you based on my words. And so I have to cultivate myself so my deeds and action show forth who I say I am, what I say I do. And so when it comes to cultivating and cultivation, that's the reality. So when the question is asked, are you in a cult? You can only answer that through your deeds and your actions. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Well, I don't stay on long, and I definitely ain't a rambler. So we're gonna let me start recording so we can close out in prayer.